Welcome. This is Cryptomorphy, and I'm here to examine the world of cryptocurrency, finance, geopolitics, and economics. In the previous video, we described CBDCs and how they are tools for collectivists and globalists that can be easily deployed to exercise iron grip control over every plugged-in person in the world. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into CBDCs, also known as central bank digital currencies, and discuss practical ways that we can prevent the globalists from putting us under their total control. It's great for us to understand what CBDCs are, but the most important question is, what are we going to do about it? In my research on this topic, I found a recent article by Catherine Austin Fitts and Carolyn Betts in the Solari Report that speaks about what we can do to delay and frustrate their efforts to obtain mass adoption of CBDCs. These people understand the massive danger that CBDCs pose to our freedom and the freedom of future generations. We can be certain that these totalitarian types will never stop pursuing this course. So it's our duty to stand up against them and instill the knowledge and fighting spirit in our friends, family, and future generations, because this is a battle that we must win. I'll cover some of the most practical recommendations in this report. I'll leave a link to the entire article in the description. So the most important portions of the list are below. 1. Use cash whenever possible and let everyone know why. They also recommend that you refuse to patronize establishments that refuse to accept cash. If you can use checks, use them. The only way these people can get their CBDC dastardly dream to materialize is to get us to accept them and use them. We can thwart their efforts by not using them. They may try to coerce us into using them or even mandate that we use them, but I have serious doubts that they can force us to use them. They will try every dirty trick in the book to get us to use them, but we must understand how dangerous their use would be to our freedom and rights. 2. Nurture analog. We need to maintain a healthy balance of digital and analog transaction options. The most dangerous situation we can find ourselves in is any 100% digital system, regardless of whether or not it's CBDC or any other digital payment system. Any system that has only one payment option is very susceptible to being commandeered and used to manipulate, control, and oppress its users. We need to make sure that we minimize or limit our use of digital payment systems. It's also recommended that we avoid biometric technology and QR codes. Lose any invasive surveillance systems you may have in your residence. Even though it might sound like a good idea, it's not. Any cameras, such as Ring systems, with centralized data collection aren't good because you don't know if they're sharing your data with law enforcement agencies. Try your best to avoid Wi-Fi connections whenever possible and use hardwired internet connections if you can. Also, refuse to use or support the use of vaccine passports or even get allegedly mandated vaccines as much as you possibly can. Understand that if any government or corporation can order you to put things into your body, you do not have any freedom. This principle is of such critical importance that I will explain it for you in case you don't understand. If the government can force you to take substances into your body, you're not free, because imagine that they want to delete you. All they would have to do is tell you that they're mandating something, say some medicine or a vax. All they would have to do is say it's mandatory, and you could easily be deleted. Don't think that this and similar things have not happened in history, because they have. I had found one article that describes 14 of the most heinous, notable instances of involuntary human experimentation. 14! What freedom do you have if anyone, individual, or people who are acting under the veil of a government or corporation can force you to put poison into your body? How would you know if what they're giving you is in fact what they're telling you they're putting into your body? How could you independently determine if they were lying to you about it? The simple fact is that you can't. If anyone can force you to place substances into your body, It's a huge surrender of any freedom that you might think you have. The question is, do you own your body, or does the government? You really need to think and reflect on this, regardless of how you might feel about vaccinations and implantable microchips. Do you think that you should have the final say about what you put into your body, or somebody else? Consider that if you think that extenuating circumstances justify the forcing of people to relinquish control over what they take into their bodies. The government will always come up with some circumstance to control you. That's just the nature of government and people that seek to exert control over people. 3. Bank at an intimate scale. Find a good, solid local bank or credit union. They are most likely not a part of this great reset agenda like your bigger national and international banks are. Talk to your bankers to educate them about this CBDC issue and how it is a danger to our freedom. We are the ones that will have to educate others because we know that most mainstream media sources are under the control of the same people that want to mandate the use of CBDCs. They will never reveal the true rationale or purpose of their actions. 4. Finance your friends, not your enemies. Work on eliminating as many online and digital financial transactions as you can, and wean yourself off of working with banking companies that support digital IDs, any types of vaccine or health passports, smart power meters, or CBDCs. We have to starve our enemies as much as possible. We must resist the people who hide behind these institutions and work to subjugate us. We have to stay persistent and vigilant. 5. Demand that the New York Fed be held accountable. Contact your congressional representatives and let them know that you are a constituent and that you want them to do the following things by using legislation, denial of funding, or any other strategy that they can use to conduct an audit of the New York Fed because it's the U.S. government's depository and acts as the main agent for the U.S. government in most financial affairs. Require government agencies that have not produced their lawfully required audits, like the Department of Defense, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the U.S. Treasury, to produce their annual audited financial statements in a timely manner. They are also known as Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports, or CAFRs for short. One of the foremost experts on this topic is a man named Walter Burien. There is also a filmmaker named Clint Richardson who also discusses this topic in painstaking detail. You can Google their names for more information. We want them to start identifying where the $21 trillion in missing funds from the U.S. government went. This is a travesty and must be stopped immediately. We need to know who got their hands on this mind-staggering amount of money. Chances are that there are a lot of people in on this. They must be identified and brought to justice. How can the government justify jailing and punishing people for taxes that are minuscule in comparison to this amount of money that just walked out of the door? We're talking about $21 trillion. Think about that. The entire GDP of the United States was $25 trillion in 2022. Are we to understand that approximately 84% of the GDP of the entire country for the year just disappeared off the map? If our government officials won't investigate this, we the people need to do it ourselves. It stands to reason that most of the lawmakers and top government officials have to be in on this if they refuse to investigate this corruption of epic proportions. 6. Demand that the U.S. exit the WHO. Request that your congressional representatives lead the battle to have the U.S. leave the World Health Organization and to stop financing it with our tax dollars. Understand that the World Health Organization is working hard to establish vaccine passports, which is a thinly veiled strategy to push out CBDCs and the social credit score power grab. These people have been planning these things for decades. We have to get smart and be active to prevent them from enslaving us and our future generations. 7. Refuse taxation without representation. Understand well that if these people can get us to accept the CBDCs, they will have total and complete control over every important aspect of your life. If you refuse any order or request they give you, they will have the ability to penalize you by reducing, curtailing, or even eliminating your ability to rent, attend school, travel, own a car, drive your car, make purchases, work certain or any job, and the list will probably include just about anything that you want to do. Say you don't want to take a vax, or that you say something on the internet that goes against the government narrative. They can fine you by removing $1,000 out of your bank account, or they could turn off your money for a week, or they could define what you could buy. Say they restrict your digital currency so that you can only spend $50 a week, or that they fine you for every transgression that they deem against public policy. What if they don't like a group in which you participate? They would have the ability to penalize every person that is determined to be associated with that group. The nightmarish scenarios are endless. The question becomes, what could you do to regain your rights? How could you avoid that? Who could you complain to? Other power-hungry, self-righteous bureaucrats with absolute power over you? Or would you have to just resign yourself to the reality that you have to do whatever they tell you, or suffer some very painful consequences? Are you really comfortable with the government or any group of people having that level of control over your entire life? Because that's how it will most likely be if we ever allow this CBDC system to be rolled out. And if you're a person that thinks that we should all follow orders from the government, what happens if they order you to do something that you don't agree with? It happens for most of us at some point in time. Imagine that they have this complete control over everything you do, everything you say, even everything that you think. And don't think they won't know what you think, because with the current technology that Facebook, Amazon, Google, and others have, they already have virtually all of us completely psychologically profiled and analyzed. 8. Don't let them convince you that CBDCs are okay. You've got to wake up and get knowledgeable about CBDCs and other tactics that these people are using to increase their control and power over us. This will never be broadcast on mainstream media. In fact, they will try to label thinking people that push this information as paranoid, conspiracy theorists, wackos, and more. But even if you believe that what I'm saying is outlandish and ridiculous, do yourself a favor and do your own research on it. Do not blindly believe these people, because they have a lot invested into getting you to accept this tyrannical system. The stakes are much too high for you and your future generations to sleep on this. There may not be a way for us or our children to free ourselves from this if they get people to accept CBDCs and social credit score technology. We've covered a lot of material. The only question now is what we're going to do about this. We know what they want to do. We know why they want to do it. Don't just go back to sleep on this. These people never rest or sleep and are working 24/7 to make this totalitarian state a reality. We have to be just as vigilant and persistent as they are if we are to have any hope to keep this from becoming a reality. We owe it to our fellow man and our offspring to fight for their freedom. It is our sacred duty to fight for freedom. It's the most precious possession that we all have. It's worth it. We must win this battle. I hope you learned something from this. Please share this video with as many people as you can. This is a topic of critical importance to all of us, especially our children, because we have to fight for their freedom and ensure that they have it when they reach adulthood. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, feel free to discuss them below. If you found value in this video, please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.